On the debate tonight, 2.5 किलो का हाथ अब बीजेपी के साथ. Sunny Deol is the latest celebrity to join the BJP.
जिस तरह से मेरे पापा इस परिवार के साथ अटल जी के साथ जुड़े थे, आज मैं यहाँ मोदी जी के साथ जुड़ने आया हूँ.
The BJP hopes his strategically timed entry will prove to be ghatak for the opposition. Two of the tallest leaders of the BJP welcome the hero known for his patriotic film Border, something that the defense minister highlighted while introducing Sunny.
मैं जिस तरह से भी इस परिवार से जुड़कर जो मैं कर सकता हूँ वो जरूर करूँगा, दिल से करूँगा. बातें नहीं मैं बताऊँगा, ना मैं कुछ बोल सकता हूँ, लेकिन हर वक्त काम करके दिखाऊँगा.
I could only relate to the film Border that he had made, and to make a film which can touch people's hearts just makes it clear that here's a person who understands the pulse of the people, who understands what drives the core of this country.
वो सिर्फ एक एक्टिंग नहीं हो सकती है जब तक वो दिल से नहीं निकले. फिल्मों में जितनी मेहनत लगती है उतनी मेहनत राजनीति में लगती है.
And it's not just Sunny Deol packing the star power these elections. The BJP has also fielded cricketer Gautam Gambhir on a East Delhi seat.
बहुत सारे लोग हर चीज़ पे हर मुद्दे पे ट्वीट करते हैं, लेकिन ग्राउंड लेवल पे उतर के कुछ नहीं कर सकता. आज मेरे पास मौका है, बीजेपी ने मुझे मौका दिया है कि जो मैं ट्वीट करता था, जो मेरा विजन था, जो मेरे थॉट्स हैं, उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने का.
Punjabi pop singer Hansraj Hans from the song Dil Chori Sada Ho Gaya fame is also contesting the Northwest Delhi seat on a BJP ticket. And to counter the BJP star power, the Congress has fielded Olympic bronze medal winning boxer Vijayender Singh as its candidate for the South Delhi Lok Sabha seat.
मैं लोगों का विज्जू जो पहले भी था और अब भी हूँ और आगे भी रहूँगा, तो लोग मेरे को प्यार करते हैं सिर्फ बॉक्सर की वजह से, बॉक्सिंग की वजह से. तो लेकिन जो कांग्रेस पार्टी ने मेरे को जिम्मेदारी दी है लोगों की सेवा करने की, तो मैं उसको भली भांति अच्छी तरह निभाऊंगा.
Earlier as well, Urmila Matondkar parachuted into the poll fray with a Congress ticket contesting from Mumbai North. As political parties field celebrities this election season, Mirror now asks, do celebrities make good politicians? Let's debate.
Well, actually, if we pick up the performance records of attendance and debates and questions asked in Parliament, there's a checkered past for celebrities who've turned politicians. The question that we're asking is, in this particular election, is this a sign of perhaps the lack of ideas on the parts of political parties? Joining us on the show, Khushbu Sundar for the Congress, Badshah Sen, senior journalist Ashutosh joins us as well. Nalin Mehta, it's a pleasure to have Nalin Mehta on the show. Anila Singh for the BJP, and of course my colleague Vinay Tiwari, consulting editor of the Times Network. Very interesting conversation. Vinay, I'm very tempted to ask you, and I'm going to, Hansraj Hans. What is your opinion of Hansraj Hans's political career and his contribution to Delhi?
Well, I can ask the same question about Gautam Gambhir too. And I've laid a bet. I don't think he's ever crossed the Yamuna ever. And Ashutosh has lived across the Yamuna for many years, and he'll bear me out. He doesn't know what Jamuna Par is, and he's a candidate from that place. So, yes, I mean, look, that's as strange as you can imagine. But then the bigger way, I mean, this seat is a reserved seat, and even while Hansraj Hans name was announced, Mr. Udit Raj, who was a sitting MP, is already making noises. So you have a lot of upset people in the BJP too.
Yes.
And Udit Raj has been a very long-standing leader.
He's MOS right now, and yes. So the fact that he's been publicly upset. Ashutosh ji, what is? I mean, I could ask you in general, what is your opinion of celebrity candidates, but specifically Hansraj Hans in Delhi from the BJP Northwest Delhi. What is your comment on that candidature and that ticket that's been handed out?
Frankly speaking, there is no bar, there is no constitutional bar that he cannot be a candidate of, he should be. But the point is that what is his political experience? He has no political experience. Even Gautam Gambhir has no political experience. And I was just hearing Vinay. Vinay is very right that Hansraj Hans might not be knowing where is the Northwest constituency and how big is the constituency and what is the number of voters there. And even Gautam Gambhir, I think for the first time we will be visiting the Mustafabad, Silampur and all these areas. And even the Patpadganj and the Mayur Vihar, all these areas. Even the Kondli he must be hearing for the first time. So I can only say that it's a comment about the party which claims that it is the biggest political party in the world, and if he can't find a single candidate which is worthy enough to be a candidate in the Northwest and in East Delhi, then you can very well understand. So what about those dedicated workers who have been working there for the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? They're slogging and they are working in every elections. Are they not good enough to be a candidate? And somebody who is novice, knows nothing about the constituency, if he is made candidate, I'm not commenting about Hansraj Hans as a singer or Gautam Gambhir as a cricketer. They as a singer, as a cricketer, I like them. I'm their fan. But as a political activist, they are completely novices and knows nothing. I think it's a disservice and injustice to the voters in these constituencies too.
Let's also point out the boxer Vijendra, who's also been given a ticket from the Congress. All of the things that Ashutosh just said about Gautam Gambhir applies to him as well. Do you agree that this is
similar thing about the Vijender Singh also?
Yes. Do you agree, Mr. Sen, that this is perhaps just winnability? You're just using popularity right now to close gaps in your list.
I think that there are 2 points here. One issue is that when the party's popularity in certain places tends to flag, then you bring in one of these, you import a star like Gautam Gambhir, who hasn't crossed the Jamna quite rightly, as Vinay quite rightly pointed out. The other is that even when you're doing rather well, I mean, if we take the commercial world, I mean, automobiles which sell rather well compared to other automobiles which do not, hire film stars to endorse these brands.
Yes.
So it's not that the film star actually drives that car or or uses online shopping sites and such like. It's just that it attracts the attention of voters who may be.
But in this case, the film star sits in Parliament for 5 years and votes
so I'm coming
on
to that.
So that's the scary bit.
Yes, it is the scary bit. They are using the film star. In the earlier era, film stars would throng the days and be there with the leaders, and Hansraj Hans would be singing and belting it out before the chief guest arrived. Now they're sitting and actually standing for election. There were very few film stars, for instance. I mean, Sunil Dutt was a notable exception. He worked extremely hard he was very much part of the anti-nuclear movement and so on and so forth. But there were few and far between. Now there is this reason to bring all these, and I think Vinay pointed this out. Ever since Mahabharata and Ramayana started running on TV years ago, these stars started coming in. They are absolutely, I agree with you, they do not perform by and large. There's nothing much that they contribute to the parliamentary debate. It's just that they are used to bring in the voters.
Yes. So I want to ask you this question before I bring in the rest of the panel. And this is Nikhil Kumar who's written to us. And he says Gautam Gambhir will end up defeating Atishi Marlena because he's popular, whereas she is perhaps the most well-educated candidate right now in the fray. Is that perhaps an imbalance?
It is, but I'll tell you what, I have two problems with this whole thing. I mean, Ashu was right about this. Every individual in India, every citizen of India has every democratic right to contest elections from wherever they want to. I have no problems with that. And they should have the right. I think for all political parties, it's not about Congress, it's not about BJP, it's not about any other. Even in the South, politicians have done very well. Khushbu's on our panel, she's been an actor, she's done well in politics.
Yes.
But Ashu has been in journalism and he's entered politics as well. So we've had examples like that. But I'll tell you where I have a slight problem with it. I think importing or parachuting a celebrity into a seat is anti-merit for the people who worked very hard for the party in that constituency. There are a large number of people who work for a party in a constituency for years. Their ultimate reward is actually to get a ticket. Ultimately in politics, people are in politics to get a ticket, whether it's an MLA or a councillor or an MP. It tends to defeat some bit of that, and you can almost see every time a name like this is announced, people do get disappointed. Some people have been working hard for years and years and they want it. That is my first issue. My second issue is, whenever a political party brings in a celebrity, you pretty much send a message that you are treating people as spectators and not as voters. Because there is a difference between the two. Whether do you want a constituency to be a constituency of voters or do you want them to be a constituency of spectators? And I think that's where the mettle of this celebrity that has been brought in gets tested. Sunil Dutt was an example. He proved his mettle as a politician. Shatrughan Sinha showed staying power. But a lot of celebrities have not showing staying power because they've just proved to be spectators.
And you know, that's the question I want to ask Nalin. Nalin's phone line is connected now. He can hear us. Nalin, so on one hand, yes, parties have always gone back to celebrity to perhaps close gaps in their list of candidates. But as voters, we have to take some responsibility. Voters, I mean, if someone in Delhi is writing to us saying, Gautam Gambhir is going to win over Artishi, even though she's more qualified, that's because voters are going to choose the more popular person. Right. So what has the success rate been, Nalin, for celebrity candidates? And is there a reason, in your opinion, that parties keep going back to celebrities?
I think we've always had celebrity candidates in politics, going back to, I didn't hear the previous discussion because my connection wasn't on very clearly, but going back to Sunil Dutt and before that to Nargis. But the record has been very mixed. I think if you can count on your fingers the number of celebrities who have then had who after winning have had staying power as serious politicians. Nargis is one of them. Sunil Dutt is one of them. We've had the example of Vinod Khanna, who won from Gurdaspur not once, but I think about 4 times consistently. Shatrughan Sinha has also been mentioned, and the list of those who were sort of flashes in the pan, who just came in and then disappeared after one term is endless, and that goes from Amitabh Bachchan to in the mid-80s to Govinda, and if you stretch it to cricket, then even Azharuddin. If you look at just the data tells us that in the last Lok Sabha, for example, there were about 10 celebrities of various kinds who became MPs, but their record, barring 1 or 2, is nothing to write home about, whether in terms of participation in debates or asking questions or even basic metrics like attending parliament. Going back further, we can even look at the example of Lata Mangeshkar, for example, who was a nominated MP but barely ever attended parliament. The point I want to make here is that, I think for political parties, it's very easy. See, you can't say that celebrities should not join politics. They can, just like anyone from any other profession. But the point is, political parties find it easy they help create a buzz. They help create a sort of excitement around that candidate in that particular constituency. But the quid pro quo also for the political leaders of parties nominating celebrities is you can create a buzz, but at the same time, the celebrity may have no actual roots on the ground. They might win because of recall value. So in that sense, you don't actually create parallel power centers unless somebody is very serious about the constituency, like Vinod Khanna became or Shatrughan Sinha became later. So there is it's an easy route to take out, and they're not that many who are serious about it.
I want to take the question to Khushbu Sundar right now, also an actor turned politician or a celebrity turned politician. Khushbu ji, do you believe that it's important for the candidate, in spite of the celebrity, to have had some sort of social work background, some sort of interest in issues, some sort of outreach activities that they've done before they sort of parachute into the elections? Would that qualify them better?
I think all the celebrities, what we're talking about, Faiz, it's very important that you see the background work they have done. It's not necessary that, you publicize all the work, you work with the NGOs, you do a lot of groundwork. It's not necessary that you have everything publicized. I'm sure the celebrities we are talking about who are in the phrase, whether it is the Congress or the BJP, I think they have had these experience of working with the people. Mind you, it's not easy job to maintain the kind of fan clubs they have or meeting them. They do a lot of social work through their fan clubs, whether it is down south or down north. So I think you can't say that they're not connected with the grassroots. You cannot say that they do not know what the basic problems are. They probably may not be going to the market and buying tomatoes and alus and gobis, but they definitely do know the ground reality. They do understand. They are very, very educated. They read the newspapers. They are in the loop as to what's happening in the country. So you just can't dismiss them saying that, it's only for the star power. No, it's not. I think when people come into politics, there is some seriousness to it. They have, like everyone else said, yes, they have all the rights to be in democratically. They have all the rights to get into politics and contest from wherever they want. It depends on the party whether they find them as a very valuable candidate to win the election. That's a secondary thing. If they're given the tickets, then the definitely party thinks that this person is very, very valuable and can add on to the votes, can bring in those extra votes. Because after all, when it comes to politics, Jo jeeta wahi Sikandar.
I think that's perhaps one of the most unfortunate things we've heard, that it is about winnability at the end. You want to respond to that, that it's just about bringing in the votes?
The fan club that Ms. Sundar is talking about is basically a very southern and that too probably Tamil Nadu phenomenon, which is where she's been basically. But I don't see there being tremendous number of
fans. So it's not like Vijendra Singh had a fan club and he was dealing with, meeting them on a regular basis and attempting to solve their problems. That doesn't actually technically give him any experience in being able to solve people issues.
Yes, I think South is a bit of an exception. Even the states are different. The voters think differently. I think they, and that's where the issue is more about Bollywood and perhaps cricketers to some extent. Chetan Chauhan has fought an election. Azhar has fought from two separate seats because he couldn't survive in either one of them. Jaya Prada that way has been a bit of a survivor from TDP to SP.
So some of them swim, some of them sink.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, more people sink actually. I mean, less have survived. So that's pretty obvious.
And even the swimmers, the point is you're actually, it's also in a bit unfortunate.
May I come in?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Yes, Ms. Sundar, go ahead.
No, I think when you say that it's different from the south to the north, I think you need to understand whether you have the fan club or not. They have been connected with the ground reality, like I said before. They I know a lot of my friends from the film industry in the north who do a lot of ground work with the people. They work with the NGOs. They're there. So what I'm saying is whether you have a fan club or not, yes, we have seen in the south, whether it was Jayalalitha, whether it was MGR, whether it was NTR, and you had Dr. Kalingar, they all belong to the film industry. This is where they came from. So I think even in the north, you don't jump into this saying that I'm a politician per se, but yes, they do know what the ground reality is. You just cannot disconnect from them because of their star status.
No, so just one question.
Any celebrity for that matter.
Just one question, Kushbuji. Vijender Singh, the boxer who has now been given the Congress ticket for South Delhi, I've looked at his track record. He's an excellent sports person, but I don't see any sort of evidence at all of social work or, so grassroots level work at all. So what was the qualification from the Congress's point of view that made you feel that this person would make sense in Parliament writing laws for the rest of us?
What makes sense that he cannot write laws? That's where the question is. See, when I talk about Vijendra Singh, who is contesting, I think you need to understand that it's not an easy way out. It's not an easy way out. We have seen the struggles of, you cannot say that these people do not understand the pain. To be a politician, what is the criteria looking at being a politician? What are the qualifications you look for a politician?
So tell us.
Do we have a written rule? You don't have a written rule to be a politician. Everyone starts from a scratch. Everyone starts from a scratch. Nobody jumps into the foray. This is just the beginning. Yes, they have a plus point. They have a platform. They have a larger platform because they are celebrities. They have a larger platform. Whether they're going to survive or not, whether people are going to vote. Let me tell you, all these spectators, all the fans, they are not voters. If they were to be the voters, let me tell you, Mr. Chiranjeevi would have been the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh before the beautification. So, I mean, everything doesn't turn into votes. We have to keep that in mind. You have seen the best of politicians failing. So what fails them? They work from the grassroots level. Even they fail.
No, but Vinay, we must concede, and I will concede one thing, that sports people are hardworking. They know how to take wins and losses in their stride. Strong spirit and, a very strong attitude is extremely important. There are some things...
Can I...
Yes. Yes, Ashutosh, just one second. There are some things that are just part of being in sports or succeeding in sports. You have to be doggedly hardworking. So would you concede that, at least for a sports person turned politician?
Of course, and they're also very competitive.
Yes.
But I doubt these are the qualities for which the parties select them. They select them because they're popular, not because they're hardworking. Or there are many hardworking people in many other professions too. None of them are picked, right? They pick cricketers and sportsmen and film stars because they have the widest base amongst people. They're recognizable. You don't need to introduce them, they can join the crowds. That's pretty much the reason.
Yes. Ashutosh, go ahead.
See, I think the Vinay is partly right when he's saying that these candidates, the Hansraj Han and the Gautam Gambhir, they're chosen not because they had some political instinct, but because they pull crowd and they could be good candidate and defeating those who are probably the better candidate than them. But probably the South India has a better example. You take the example of Karunanidhi. Karunanidhi was a script writer, and he became such a colossus in the South Indian politics, in Tamil politics, and he was so clued in into the Dravidian movement. And then you take the example of M.G. Ramachandran. M.G. Ramachandran was a superstar. He was brought into politics by Karunanidhi, but M.G. Ramachandran became such a legend. And you will take the example of Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha was not a great successful film actress, but she became what everybody knows. Even you take the example of America, the Ronald Reagan was called to be a third-rate film actor, but he emerged to be one of the greatest American president ever, and he was instrumental in getting Soviet Union disintegrated into many parts. Even the Arnold Schwarzenegger turned out to be a good governor for the California. So it's not that these celebrities, they don't become a good administrator or a good politician. It only depends that whether they got the political instinct or not. Take the example of Navjot Singh Sidhu. He turned out to be a very good politician. Even Kirti Azad, the member of 1983 World Cup team, he has won 2-3 times, and he is very clued into this constituency.
I don't disagree. My only disagreement with
I do not know whether they got the instinct.
The only disagreement was Kirti was the son of a former chief minister, so he was born in a political family, so he had an advantage.
So his cricket career was a flash of the pan.
Bhagwat Azad was a very tall Bihar leader.
All right, so we have to introduce this. Ariela ji has been listening very patiently.
I interacted with Kirti Azad, so I know he's one of the better.
And we have to bring up Nalin. I saw your hand go up, but I want to play out these 2 bites. The reason why we're having this entire conversation is the induction of Sunny Deol into the BJP. And we were live today. We were tracking the elections when this press conference happened. The justification that the BJP, the biggest leaders in the BJP, 2 union ministers gave for the reason why they decided Sunny Deol should have a ticket, you should just hear for yourself as viewers. Can we play that out, please?
I could only relate to the film Border that he had made. And to make a film which can touch people's hearts just makes it clear that here's a person who understands the pulse of the people, who understands what drives the core of this country.
वो सिर्फ एक एक्टिंग नहीं हो सकती है जब तक वो दिल से नहीं निकले. फिल्मों में जितनी मेहनत लगती है उतनी मेहनत राजनीति में लगती है.
And Nalin had his hand up, so I will go to Nalin to comment on this. Nalin, what is your reading? I find the justification most amusing. Defense Minister of the country saying I was inspired by Border, which suggests that he's a patriotic person.
No, by that logic, we should have Mr. Attenborough as the candidate of Prime Minister because he played Gandhi. So I find this quite amusing. To begin with, and as somebody put it on Twitter today that Sunny Deol should now be sent to the border, and somebody should inform Western Command of the Army that he's being sent there. But I'm just being facetious there. Seriously speaking. Faye, I think the difference, I heard in the debate MGR and NTR being mentioned. I think the crucial difference is between those celebrities, whether from the field of sport or from cricket or from film or whatever, who approach politics as simply as just another form of brand endorsement. You endorse a brand, a pair of shoes, a pair of consumer product, and similarly you endorse a political party to cash in on your own fame. And those who are in it for ideological purposes. MGR was a member of the Congress till 1953. He wore khadi before he got influenced by Anna and joined the Dravidian movement. He was a prominent Dravidian nationalist. NTR was moved politically towards the latter, in his 50s, significantly because of what he saw as Congress injustices in his state, because chief minister had been changed 5 times in 5 years.
Yes.
So there was a serious political impulse and a background to why they entered politics. It wasn't simply cashing in on their celebrity as some kind of brand endorsement and then you move on without necessarily engaging with it. And I think that's the big difference, which is now will Sunny Deol be cut off the same cloth or not? Will Vijender Singh from the Congress? By the way, on Vijender Singh, the reason I was putting up my hand was that the story I heard today was that Vijender Singh has an old link with the Congress, which is this, not an ideological link, but when he got married in 2011, Rahul Gandhi attended his wedding at the Delhi Flying Club, also because Vijender Singh by then had made his name as an international boxer, but also his father apparently works with Satish Sharma, who's the former the Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress and an old Gandhi loyalist. I believe he worked as a driver in his household, now does other things in the household, and that's the link. And Rahul Gandhi even attended his wedding in 2011. So Vijender Singh has old family links through other people to the Congress party. Now that doesn't mean he won't be a good politician. He's made some interesting statements today about Rajniti versus Raj ki Niti and so on. But that's the basic difference. Is he going to see it simply, he or others going to see it simply as brand endorsement or an ideological serious engagement?
Well, I just want to correct one thing. Richard Attenborough actually directed the film Gandhi. It was Ben Kingsley who played Gandhi. But then what do we do? Because Ben Kingsley went on to play a terrorist in Iron Man 3. And so then that would be confusing to actually attribute him to only one film and, not his entire career. But I just want to bring in Anila Singh. Anila Singh, like Mr. Bharat Kumar Rao, who was with us in the studio at the time, said, unfortunately, you're not taking inspiration from Chalbaz or any of the other films that Sunny Deol has done. BJP very selectively just picking one film that suits your narrative at this point. How does this make sense? That it's his acting, so there must be something in his heart. Paresh Rawal, who is your colleague, has played a villain in most of the films that he has been in. What is this justification, Anila Singh?
First of all, Nirmala ji said that I have seen a single movie of Sunny Deol, that is Border, and that is how she can relate. I have a bad throat. That is how she can relate with Sunny Deol. This is what she told, and perhaps she might have not seen many of his movies. And secondly, I think it is not the topic should not be Sunny Deol only. There are many celebrities in different forms in political career. And as I was listening very patiently for half an hour, all the panelists, they all had one thing in common, that if they are able to prove their mettle here in the political world, they are most welcome, because different people from different fields, whether it is your film industry or your sports world or your industrial sector, they come, they join. At times, they come here for one tenure, or other times they stay here. So it very much depends on the capability of the person. But I mean, after half an hour you have come.
No, I just want to ask you one more question, if I may.
But I just want to make one point here that, please.
So a couple of things here. Nirmala Sitharaman called Sunny Deol a young, charismatic actor. It turns out that he's older than she is. But I also want to know from the BJP, what was the qualification or the reason why you decided to give the Gurdaspur ticket to Sunny Deol? What does he bring to the table that will uniquely qualify him for Parliament?
So point of discussion is Sunny Deol or the celebrities entering into politics
this one particularly?
Without working for any political party.
No, my question is about Sunny Deol.
Here?
My question is about Sunny Deol.
So then certainly, all right, Faye. Then I think you should leave that thing for our party, our parliamentary board, to decide that who is the right person to contest from where. My party and my parliamentary board might have seen something, they must have discussed, then they have come to the conclusion that he is the right person from that particular seat. No, but we are here to fight an electoral battle and to win.
So for the voters who are going to vote, there's no answer that you have right now of why this person is suited for Parliament or for politics, and why this person would be
then
qualified
leave it on the voters, whether they like
on our laws.
No, Faye, then leave it on the voters.
I'm a little actually disappointed that there's no answer to that question.
If they will not like Sunny Deol, they will not vote for him.
If you want to stretch things slightly.
No, I mean, you cannot target one single person.
He also comes from a political family.
His father was Dharmendra. People from the film industries, they enter into
Dharmendra has a track record both as an actor and a politician. And so
that is the very definition of nepotism, that to assume that just because your father was good at something, that you would be good at it too.
But since his father has been in politics, And the other point is Gurdaspur was represented pretty solidly.
Then in that case, we should ask Anila Singh that a party that specifically is against dynasty politics, is Sunny Deol's father his qualification?
No,
because
father,
that would.
I'm just stretching, as I said, I'm stretching.
Yes.
Because just as we just talked about Bhagwat
I'd love
Jha
to answer
Azad
that,
and
Faye.
Kirti Azad. Bhagwat Jha Azad and Kirti Azad.
No, so I'll tell you, I'll be very honest with you, I completely agree with Anila on this. She's right. She's absolutely right that this is a political party's sole discretion to bring in whoever they want to. They have a right, their parliamentary board has every right to bring in whoever they want to and make him a candidate. But this is precisely the reason I am also disappointed with the justification that the Defence Minister of India should give. That's a defensive line. You don't need to justify that. You have a right to bring anyone you want to. But to try and justify that by saying, oh, because he's done a film which really where an Indian army unit is fighting a war against Pakistan, is not required. You don't need to do that. I mean, that's to me is a little bit of a trivializing of the whole concept of armed forces. You don't have to be defensive about it. Just say he's the right candidate for my party, right candidate for Gurdaspur, and I'm fielding him from this seat. There's nothing wrong with that.
The defence minister was being defensive about a film on defence.
Why do you have to say that? You don't have to justify it by saying because he's acted in border and it's a patriotic role, he has his heart bleeding for India. He would have had this heart bleeding for India without that film as well.
Yes.
For instance, when he was in Chalbaz, it was still bleeding.
When he was in Chalbaz as well. All right. Khushbu wanted to say something. Khushbu ji, but I must point out to you, I will ask you questions about Urmila Matondkar as well. Nalin, immediately after this. Khushbu, go ahead.
Yes, no, I think it was absolutely unwanted, like you said, for a defense minister to say that Mr. Sunny Deol was inducted and given a seat because of border. I think then they've got the wrong candidate, because JP Datta should have been the right candidate for creating those characters and creating a film which touched the heart of millions. So I think JP Datta would have been the right candidate with his heart beating very, with a lot of patriotism for the country. Of course, Sunny is a wonderful actor, but I think, you know, you just induct people because you want them to. Like we said, they have the connectivity with the people, they bring in the crowds, whether they're going to win or not, it's only after the election they're going to prove their mettle. And, you know, whether it's not necessary that they're going to win. But we definitely, even for our party, like you said, we have Urmila. We thought she is Amchi Mumbai's girl, and North Mumbai is something people would connect with her. But I'm not going to say, oh, because she was Rangili and that's why we brought her into the party. No, definitely not. I think I'm sure the High Command would have thought that she is the right candidate to bring in the crowd and people to vote. Because that is something, you know, we have seen the same constituency, we have seen Govinda winning. When Ram Nayak, we thought it was invincible to defeat Ram Nayak before Govinda walked in, and then we had Govinda just sweeping the election there. So this is something which, you know, it's something with every political party works, where they have a thinking.
No, but you know, Khushbu, what was the success that Govinda brought to that?
They can win or not.
Govinda actually is quoted by the press saying that I don't want people to come to my house in the middle of the night. I don't want to do this. And he actually left politics because it just did not suit him.
Exactly.
That was a waste of an opportunity that could have been given to someone.
Reasons. I mean,
yes.
I'm very closely associated with Govinda, so I wouldn't want to go in as to why he left politics, why he is away from politics. There are completely different reasons to it. But then I'm saying that not necessarily, not everyone. I think one of the greatest actor turned politician in the North, if you look at it, was Nargis Duttji and Sunil Duttji. I mean, how many of us are completely inspired? Even whether BJP, they are definitely going to talk about the kind of contribution Sunil Duttji had till the end of his lifetime, you know, completely contributing not to the party but to the country, because you can be a candidate, you can be a member of the party, but then the contribution is not to the party. The contribution of a politician, of a candidate winning is to the country. How much you speak in the parliament, what kind of a contribution you do, and what changes you bring into your constituency, and what are the good things you bring into your constituency. That is what the qualification of a good politician is, not what you do to the party.
Nalin had a point to make. Nalin, what is your take right now on Sunny Deol's entry and the justification that has been given now by Anila Singh and Khushbu ji about the fact that it's at the end of the day the party high command that will decide what works?
Well, I have nothing against Sunny Deol's entry into politics per se. He could well turn out to be a good MP. After all, Vinod Khanna was a very good MP. But the justification, the way it was put out, and I think I completely agree with Vinay. I mean, after all, by the same logic, Anupam Kher, who was a pro-BJP actor, also played Dr. Dang. So and an anti-India villain. I mean, this sort of completely reduces because you played border and because you represented a certain kind of nationalism, it kind of reflects actually the kind of popcorn nationalism that's being pushed in this election. If this election, if the discourse is about whether you are national or anti-national, and which is a national party, at least have a serious version of nationalism and not this very, very shallow commando comics, popcorn kind of nationalism. I mean, if this is true, then somebody should call the Sialkot Corps, and if people really think that on the other side of the Pakistan border, people are going to be scared because Sunny Deol is coming in. I mean, this is just reduces the debate and even the idea of that debate to an absolute farcical level.
Right, Ashutosh ji, I mean, if we are going to really bring in this kind of nationalism and constantly talk about it, on the other hand, just one second, on the other hand, there's Pragya Thakur who's been given a ticket, who is a terror accused. So really mixed messages being sent out as to what nationalism really is in this country right now.
No, I think that I think the God save the country if this is the kind of nationalism which we are pleased by the ruling elite. If Pragya Singh is epitome of Indian nationalism, and if Sunny Deol has been given a ticket because he was acting in the film called Border, or even the Gadar, Prem Katha, then I don't know what is the nationalism is all about. They are completely redefined the nationalism. Nationalism is altogether a very different concept. But I think this is the whole idea is now to divert the attention from the main issues. And this I've been saying for a very, very long time. They tried with the Balakot, they failed because Balakot did not work. And then they are trying with Hindu terror versus the other kind of terror. And Pragya Singh was brought just before the third phase of polling. It simply signifies the fact that the BJP and the government does not want to discuss the real issues about unemployment, real issues about the farmers' distress and the economy, which is completely into the shambles. And so that the people are engaged in whether the Pragya Singh has been faked into all these cases or not, what has been links with the Colonel Purohit and what has been linked with the Samjhauta and blah, blah, blah. So the real issue that is my real worry is, and if this is the brand of nationalism which we are going to be presented with by the ruling party right now, then I think we have to be very, very scared about the entire way the country is being taken.
Absolutely. Vinay, there's a question here from one of our viewers. Sudarshan Chauhan says, will common people ignore their issues and end up voting for a famous personality? Is that what history has taught us?
Well, yes, to some extent.
We have to take the blame. As voters, we've brought this on some level.
Yeah, but I guess, look, voters are emotional, and I think image does play a role. I mean, we can't deny that. In politics, image does play a role, and celebrities already carry a pre-built image. And when you have a pre-built image, the question is, if there is a right mixture of the image and the right party, there is winnability to it. I mean, we were talking about the example of Mahabharata actors in the 90s who all won elections. They were unheard of by their real names. People knew them by their screen names. People did not know Sita was Deepika Chikliya. People did not know Arvind Trivedi was Raman, but they won elections and they won by a big margin.
Smriti Irani also won because of her popularity.
She was a household name in India, and she's become a successful politician. So there are good examples too, and she's a very good politician, undoubtedly.
Yes. Anila Singh wanted to respond to the panel. Anila, go ahead.
Absolutely, Faye. First of all, I was listening to Ashutosh, and we very well know that he is so vindictive towards Bharatiya Janata Party and our party supremo, Narendra Modi ji. That is why he was spitting venom towards us. So, Ashutosh ji, do not preach us that what nationalism is. Nationalism you can find in small things also. Even if you are doing a good movie, a good nationalist movie, and you are portraying a good role in it, even that is a nationalism. For you, nationalism might be one particular thing, but for us, nationalism is there even in the smallest micro element on this earth. So do not preach us. And secondly, आप nationalism की बात करते हो, आपके आंखों के सामने एक आदमी ने फांसी लगा के मर गया किसान, and you are talking about the nationalism in politics. You yourself is a flop politician, and we very well know it. So do not try to teach us and preach us that what politics is and how the candidate should be selected. Arvind Kejriwal is a very good example. He didn't have any political career before he contested, and he became the chief minister of Delhi. So do not sit here and tell us that who should contest and who should not contest. It is the will of the people and the party to give ticket and the will of the people to vote him or her out. So
okay, Anila Singh, if I may, I didn't want to interrupt you because we don't interrupt people on this channel. But we're just having a conversation, and to be fair, we've mentioned on our screen the Trinamool Congress, the Indian National Congress, the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the TDP, every party actually in the country, and the celebrities that every party has brought in. I don't think it's really fair for you to launch off specifically on one of the panelists, because we're just having a discussion of the direction that politics is taking.
Dislike for Narendra Modi ji in this panel.
What? Who mentioned
Faye, I can see a mutual dislike for Narendra Modi ji.
Where is the dislike for Narendra
panel
Modi?
Of yours.
I mean, nobody has even
dislike.
mentioned that name so far. I mean, I haven't mentioned it. Bacha hasn't mentioned it.
Of course.
We have
Nalin
not
hasn't
even
mentioned
mentioned
it.
Party Supremo.
No, please don't. If you have, I'm sorry.
Anila ji, this is a
I'm sorry.
classic case. Anila ji, may I come in?
Okay, we'll get a little derailed if we continue down this route. But Anila ji, let me just point out to you that it has been advised from some big politicians, and I won't tell you who, because if I do, you'll tell me that I'm supporting the Congress party. But advice from big politicians is that in politics you need to have a thicker skin. So you can't be this sensitive of, when people are just commenting on the way politics is moving in this country. We'll have to, does it seem right now that the BJP is being extra sensitive?
I will not say BJP.
If people will sit...
Look,
one second.
People will sit here and abuse my leader, do you think I'm going to
But I don't think anybody did.
I'll give them back.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You can interpret this any way you want.
I mean,
but I don't believe that anybody abused anybody else, because I don't allow that on my panels. Vinay, do you want to respond, and then I'll go to Khushbu.
We are contesting Sunny Deol. Why we have brought Sadhvi Pragya?
But those are valid questions to ask. We're allowed to ask these questions.
So this shows what is there.
Absolutely, the nation wants to know why. Nation wants to know why Pragya Thakur.
I would have loved, Faye, if we would have discussed about all political parties, that how they bring celebrities and why they bring celebrities in the politics. But targeting one particular party, because I think
I represent
Khushbu, I don't know how much
my party, despite being a celebrity.
Okay, all right, ladies. Let me just stop you for a second there.
That is what I am saying. It would have been.
Okay, Anila ji, calm down.
Political party worker, even I would have given my views that whether celebrity should be.
Okay, Anila ji, if you're that unhappy with the panel, you are welcome to leave if you want to. I'm going to continue the discussion because I don't want to waste time of my panelists and my viewer, which is really important. I also want to point out that while political parties assert their freedom to choose and give tickets to whomever they see is right, I assert here as journalists that it is fully within our rights to ask questions about which candidate has been chosen and who has been given a ticket. That is part of the job. You can't take that personally. And it is also widely accepted that the choice of the candidate Pragya Thakur is controversial. So you must expect that people will ask you questions about it. Vinay?
Yeah, no, look, I'll be very honest. I don't know if Anila is listening or not. The issue wasn't Pragya Thakur at all. And that's why I will refrain from talking about that's a separate day and issue.
Yes.
Having said that, I don't think there was even one person on the panel who spoke about Mr. Modi. We spoke about all political parties and the concept of celebrities being brought into elections, whether cricketers or film stars. There are viewers in it, not just in India, but across the world. This is being debated in the US as we speak.
Yes.
Kanye West got involved into politics.
Yes.
There was a lot of controversy around that. Imran Khan is the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He was a cricketer.
Absolutely.
It's a global issue. It's not just about India. And I don't see why we should get riled up over something that is a global debate. The debate is simply this, that in a democracy, everybody has a right to be brought in. Parties use different logic. Vijender Singh is as sometimes for some people as illogical as perhaps Gautam Gambhir, and there's nothing different about that. And so my only problem is I don't understand the reason for getting riled up because nobody's targeting anybody. But having said that, the larger question is, there is no doubt about that the evidence on record suggests that there is an inconsistent performance or record of celebrities, whether cricketers or sports stars, having entered politics. Some have done very, very well. We mentioned Smriti Irani as one example. Sunil, that's another example. And there have been those who've just fallen by the wayside. I mean, Khushbu was saying Govinda is a friend, but the fact is Govinda was living in Bombay in North and was hardly visiting his own constituency. He never attended parliament. So there have been bad performances. Rajesh Khanna nearly defeated Alki Advani 1,500 votes, won the by-election and never went to parliament. So we've had those cases as well.
So, actually, since Khushbu's with us, Khushbu, everybody knows obviously that the life of a film star or a celebrity does involve a lot. You're already in public life. You're already in the public glare. But life in politics is still very different. You have to be available to your constituency, you have to be available to people, you have to be available to your party. So for our audience's benefit, would you tell us honestly what the difference is between the two lives or between the demands of the two lives?
It's very different, Faye. You cannot say that because I'm a celebrity, I'm going to be a successful politician. Politics is not about your celebrity status. You have to give in everything you have to the people. You have to, if you're contesting, you cannot look at the timings. If you're there for the people, you cannot say that, okay, this is my moment, this is my family time, this is my personal time. You cannot do that. You are a full-time politician. You have to have things record straight, that, the perks you enjoy as a celebrity, as a film star, you cannot. You have to start from the scratch. I might have seen everything, right from, temples and the front covers and, fan followings, everything. But politics is not that. I don't come here into politics and say that I need the front bench. I need to be on the front page. My statement has to be in the front. I need a seat. No, I need to struggle. I need to work hard. I need to work hard to prove myself as a person who is very serious about my political career. And this is not a profession as such, like you say that I am a celebrity, I am a film star, and that's my profession. Politics is not profession. Politics is about service, and if you're not prepared for that, I would say nobody, whether you are a film star, you're a cricketer, or any other celebrity, you have no rights to take your people for a ride, because this is not a profession. It's about service. It's a complete different life altogether.
Vinay, you did say something a couple of days ago about how the first contest is actually to lose. And it takes time, really. So even Imran Khan, for example, has been at it for a while.
He's been at it for a very long time. No, I mean, look, that's actually more relevant to party politics. In North, this is a very popular thing. In party politics, they say that पहला election आप हारने के लिए लड़ते हो, दूसरा हराने के लिए, तीसरा जीतने के लिए. I mean, as individual celebrities, maybe that logic may not entirely hold. It's definitely true for parties. If you enter a fray, you need to be prepared to lose the first time around.
Yes, same question to Ashutosh. Ashutosh ji, how is politics different from, say, the life of a journalist? And you are a celebrity as well. People know who you were in Delhi when you went out into politics. Okay, so he's agreeing. He hasn't disagreed. He's not coy about it. How was your life different as a politician?
No, I must say with my full honesty that the life of a politician is very, very difficult. And it's much tougher than I working as a journalist, because in politics, even if around 2 in the night, you can't say no. If somebody is calling you, you have to answer. Or around 3 in the night, somebody can barge into your house around 3 in the morning, and you have no other option that to get up and entertain him and her. With a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. So it's very, very difficult job for a politician, and that is why the politician has developed very thick skin. I just want to have a small word, a small question to ask Anila Singh, though she was very courteous with me with her words. And these days, BJP people are very courteous with me on TV channels and the debate. I just want to ask a small question. Will I be justified if I try to make a film on the Nathuram Godse, and if I say it is good in terms of nationalism? So what she has to say on that?
Well, unfortunately, Ashutosh, she left the conversation after that interaction with you specifically. She's not part of the conversation anymore, but that's a fair point. I mean, the point that Nalin picked up about the fact that Ben Kingsley paid Gandhi, and as a result, he would be a great candidate. He also, several years later, played a terrorist in another film. So that argument actually doesn't hold at all. Yeah. Also, from the PCR, my producer tells me that we should remind Ashutosh that journalists get calls at 3 in the morning also. I think they're hinting. That was a rude hint to me. I will still continue to call you at 3 in the morning.
No, the only difference is reporters don't land up at your house at 3. Party workers do.
I can tell your producer. That for 5 years I was a politician, and I know how difficult it is, and how many times I had to lie to justify myself to say something. So it's a very, very tough word, very, very tough word. So my sympathies are always with politicians.
Sympathies with the politicians. Nalin, obviously you've been
Thank you.
Yes, you've been cracking those numbers, and in your opinion, which one is it? So politicians obviously will get, or celebrities obviously will get, the opening innings will be slightly easier for them because they come in with the popularity. But it's about whether or not they can last, and it's a long haul. This is not something that can be wrapped up quickly. It's not a T20.
Right, yeah, I mean,
you need stamina.
You can't be a Sehwag, you need to be a Dravid to be in politics. You really need to bat for 5 days.
Nalin, is it about the staying power really?
Sorry, I couldn't, there's a problem in the audio, I couldn't hear very clearly, but from what I could make out, no, I think I agree with Ashutosh to the extent that that while journalists have difficult lives, especially television journalists, but if you spend any time with serious politicians, you realize that how much of a how much they just don't own their time at all, and beyond the sort of caricature image of the venal corrupt politician, when you spend time with serious politicians, you realize how much just how much of an outdoor life they have, and how much their life is completely not in their control at all. So I do have a lot of respect for politicians, and I think that's what happens with a lot of celebrities who come into politics thinking that they'll get a slice of power or use this as brand endorsement, and then they realize that this is much more serious and much more expansive than anything they've ever experienced before. And those that combine that the ability to deal with that with some kind of ideological sense or some kind of public service, some sense of public service last. And we've through the course of this debate, we've talked about several such examples from the south of India as well as from the north. So yeah, that's my 2 bits on it.
Well, I also want to point out Prakash Raj, who is a film actor turned politician, and I met him some time ago and we did an interview with him because he comes in with a very different offering to the city of Bangalore, and he said, I was pained with what was happening. I decided I will contest as an independent with my own money to prove that citizens can do this. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to work out for him, but that's an interesting approach as well.
It is, but I tell you, in Indian, especially in Lok Sabha elections, you need a party machinery to back you. I mean, it's just loaded against you. The odds are so heavily against you as an independent. I mean, it's not impossible. There have been instances like this, but it is loaded heavily. You need a party machinery.
Also, he pointed out, Prakash Raj pointed out that while there is a cap on the amount that independents can spend, there is no cap on the amount that the party can sort of chopper into your constituency.
So I'll give you an example of another Prakash. There is another person called Prakash Jha, who's actually a very well-known filmmaker, and he loves making films on politics. He's contested from 3 different parties in 4 different elections, and he's still not won one. So he's shown staying power. He's certainly shown staying power, but he's still trying his level best to actually do what he's shown on the screen.
Absolutely. And last point that I just want to make before we wrap up, and that's the celebrity. If we were to consider a celebrity that would work really well to bring in votes, Rajinikanth would be an ideal candidate. But he's flirted with politics for so long now and not committed. And I think that, one of the things I remember clearly is when he visited Tuticorin after the protest and he walked into a hospital, a very young person sat up and said, why are you here? What were you doing up till now? Why haven't you come earlier? He'd never heard that tone in his career.
So Rajinikanth right now resembles somebody who's testing how hot the water is in the bucket. Just before you go and take a shower, you really need to check up before you put the first mug on. I mean, he's testing it how hot it is.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to take this question to Kushbu Sundar because she's worked with Rajinikanth in a lot of films. Kushbuji, you worked with him. He's received nothing but adulation his entire career, and really epic adulation from the people who watch his films. But as a politician, he would need to be, prepared for a far tougher run with the press, with the people, something he might not be fully prepared for.
I think Rajni sir coming into politics, this has been going on, if I'm not wrong, since 90s, early 90s, that he's going to come into politics when he had a problem with Jayalalitha, and then he wanted to enter politics, and then he refrained from doing so. Now again, we have been talking about, hearing that he's going to enter politics now. He's just very recently, last week, made statements that if assembly elections are to be held now, I will jump into the foray. But then the thing is, he has not launched his party. There were talks about he launching his party, but he hasn't done that so far. I think people start losing patience. So you cannot take people for a ride. With complete due respect to Rajni sir, if you need to get into politics, it's now. age is not on your side. You're not a very youngster. I'm not going to say that you're as young as Sunny Deol, an angry young man, but then, you know, you need to understand people here, they have been watching you. You cannot jump into the foray and say that I'm going to take my own sweet time and decide whether I want to get into politics or not. For that, I really respect Mr. Kamal Hassan, who has jumped into it. I'm disappointed that he is not contesting, and I have made it very clear.
Sorry, we're going to interrupt you here.
I've made it very clear to
because
him saying that I'm
Rajinikanth, the Talaivar, is 68, Sunny Deol is 62. There's actually not much difference.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Rajinikanth is not as young as Sunny Deol, because if Sunny Deol is the angry young man, Mr. Rajinikanth is still a chitty, you know, 2.0. So he's still the robo who can do magic.
I have one more theory on
This is the kind of adulation he has.
I have one more theory, which is this. I really seriously believe he's waiting to see how much Kamal Hassan sinks or swims this election before he decides whether he should get into it. Now, he's using him as his guinea pig, frankly.
Yes. So, do you think Kamal Hassan is going to swim at all?
I doubt it, frankly. In the current environment, I really doubt it.
I think as of now, the way things are going in Tamil Nadu, you have to not only be a celebrity, but one or the other of the DMK factions. That would give you the ballast. So you either have to be in ADMK.
No, not exactly. I wouldn't agree with it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't agree with it. You know why? Because the times have changed. Gone are the days when people would think that it's either this or that. Times are changing. Times are changing in Tamil Nadu. Yes, this election is going to be very, very tough for Mr. Kamal Hassan. But then at least I'm glad that he's jumped into the foray. You want to make a difference, get into it. It's no point in sitting behind a camera and within the closed four walls in your AC room and say that, okay, this has not happened, that has not happened, keep blaming the party. I have absolute respect for Prakash Raj. He's jumped into the foray. You want to make a difference, get into it, try to make a difference. I think that's what is actually the need of the hour. You cannot keep sitting back and keep blaming any political party for that matter. You need to jump in and work.
I was just extending what my fellow panelist Vinay had pointed out, that it's extremely difficult for an individual
to do this alone.
To do this. So Prakash, in the case of Prakash Raj, he is an individual, no matter how big an individual he is. And that's why I was thinking that there are a shoalful of, well, there's Kamal Hassan and there is Rajinikanth. Of course, they have plenty of money and so on and fame and celebrity status, but they do not have the big advantage in Tamil Nadu. You still have the fan clubs, which provides you a basic structure. Whereas if you are without a fan club, no matter how big you are, you will have to depend on yourself.
Okay, so we've run out of time. I just want to point out one thing, Vinay. Apparently, the most Googled thing about Sunny Deol today is his age. So that's the first prompt that's popping up on the screen, Sunny Deol's age. Also, there seems to be a general dislike for, or disdain for AC or air conditioning in this particular election. Everybody's taken offense to anyone who is who's using air conditioning, but it's a very interesting election. I want to thank my panelists. It's been a brilliant day, and we've had a lot of movement. So half the country has already voted, and we have 4 phases to go. But it's a fascinating, fascinating election. There are celebrities, there are sports people, there are people accused of all kinds of heinous crimes, and then, like there are in every profession, there are good politicians who intend to work and who intend to do well by their people. It's our job as voters to be able to sift through all of that and find the person who would actually do justice to the vote. Stay with Mirror now. Thanks for watching. Good night.